On the book stands here in Ottawa.
Nobody would talk to me. All they did was insult me until my wonderful friend Earl McRae, who I'm going to be with Friday.
Right.
My friend Pat McAdam is having a thing for the 1948 Flyers at the on Preston Street at the soccer club, and it's $20 to go. And if you can get in, and they're going to have Ab Reno and the other guys that were there during the 1948 Olympics.
Yeah.
And then Pat fixed me up to get a picture taken with Barbara Ann Scott, and I've had a crush on her since 1948.
And she looks great on that. Isn't that wild?
God, she's wonderful.
She really does. But you know, you've got obviously Earl McRae, Pat McAdam, the most noteworthy columnist from the Toronto Sun.
Yeah.
You had people in your court, but I keep focusing on the readers.
Yeah,
when somebody's reading this, how do they square the stuff that we've just been talking about, from the suicides to the trauma? How do they square that with your desire to continue with the job? When you've been in the job for 1 year in 1961 and you had seen all this, why didn't you say, hell, there are 50,000 easier ways to make a living that won't give me nightmares and won't drive me into a bottle? Why don't I do it?
I don't know. I guess as I keep repeating, when you go to work with heroes every day, Second World War, Korean War heroes, and you know, like I'm writing a story about a friend of mine in my second book. His name is Lorne Banning. Yeah. Lorne Banning is not tall in stature, but he went to Korea in 1951 with 19 guys from Ottawa, and 6 of them came back. Well, Lorne just turned 80 last year. Yeah. Lorne's walking home after something late at night, going over to get into his car, and 2 big punks came up to him, and they said, "We'd like your watch, old man, and your wallet too." And Lorne said, "Well, look, let's not let anybody get hurt here. You know, my wallet's in my car, and everything else. And you can't take the fight out of these guys. They're trained to kill." Yeah. So he goes to the car and he opens up the door, and these 2 punks are standing there with their arms crossed like this, looking at this little man. Can't judge a book by the cover. He always kept, ever since Korea, a billy club on the back seat of his car. So he took it out and he drove one of them right between the eyes and just opened him up like a can opener, pushed his nose inside of his face, and before he hit the ground, his teeth hit the ground.
And old man, huh?
Oh yeah, an old man. Okay. So anyways, I laughed about that.
We'll get back to that when we come back.
He said, "What if he dies?" I said, "You put it under local improvements because we don't have a justice system in this country."
And we do have.
No, we don't.
Captain Jimmy Allen here on Talk Ottawa tonight, talking about his book, Extreme Heat: A Firefighter's Life. Stay with us. We'll have more right after the break. You are back with us here on Talk Ottawa. We are talking to Captain Jimmy Allen, author of Extreme Heat: A Firefighter's Life, a fascinating memoir. I think literally a one-in-a-kind memoir, Jimmy.
Thank you.
And as we read it, and I hope people will go to chapters or go to your website, jimmyallen.ca, to have a look at it.
The nice thing about that, too, is I went into Barnes & Noble, and I pushed in Barnes & Noble, and another one, well, of course, Pat's better educated than me. I asked Pat, what's this Blackwell website? It's on Blackwell. That's a British website. Right. Yeah. It's on Blackwell. It's on Amazon.com. It's on Target. That's the one that gets me because that's like Walmart here, eh? Yeah. And it's on a whole bunch of different things. I found another one I never even heard of before. And then I don't know. I'm just excited about it, you know, because nothing but good's going to come out of it.
It's not surprising. It's not surprising. And before we get to what's going to become of the book and the next and the next. Yeah. The turning point in this book is probably, I guess, in the 70s when you decide to confront the booze and to confront the nightmares and to turn that around. Yeah. Now, so the latter half of your career, the career doesn't change. No. The job doesn't change. No. The tragedies don't change. No. What changes in you that
I have
you are
God in
able
my
to
life.
handle it?
You know, it might sound Mickey Mouse to some people, you know, but see, I thought I was an atheist all my life, because my mother had she had 11 children. 7 strokes, 4 heart attacks, and my good luck comes from the way I treated my mother. I have her picture at home with Robert Wagner and Robert Stack. I took her to Hollywood, took her to Florida, took her to, you know, that's where my good luck comes from, eh? And, you know, I was at a fire at Commercial TV and Appliances on Rideau Street in 1965, and it blew up. And I'm in the basement. I was a scuba diver, and I was one of the first ones to fool around with the masks. Lots of us did, but like Gary Wallace was a scuba diver, and you're more comfortable breathing self-contained breathing apparatus. Yeah. So I went in to take a look to try and find the seat of the fire. And I get into the basement, and the place blew up. Then all of a sudden I hear a baby crying. And I'm wondering where the baby's crying coming from, and it's me. I'm crying, and I sound like a baby to me inside my mask. And I say, God, get me out of here. Then all of a sudden, call it my imagination, call it whatever you want to. When the place blew up, I don't know if you've ever been in a mine. If you're ever in a coal mine or something like that, put your hand there, you can't see your hand. Well, that's the situation I was in. For some reason, I saw the reflection of something. My mask was ringing, my bell was ringing on my mask. That indicated I had 3 minutes or less
to breathe.
And then I was going to have to try and get close to the floor, but I knew because if it's that thick, there's not even going to be that little pocket that's usually at the floor. That's why animals live, because there's a little pocket. If people would crawl out of fires, lots of times they'd save themselves. So I saw this reflection of something, and I crawled towards this light, white spot, light, reflection, call it whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I end up on the bottom of the stairs. I take off my mask because my mask had collapsed against my face. I'd sucked the last bit out of the tank. And I put my face against the floor to try and breathe some air off the floor, and I puke all over myself. And then Bill Mulick and Dougie Sharon and Rod Kimberly and my other heroes came down and they took me outside. I ended up in the hospital. They brought Sharon in, pretty well, again, to say goodbye. They didn't think I was going to make it. And I did. I did. Another time I was at a fire and the doctor came in and said, I'd like to meet you. I said, why would you like to meet me? We had a fire at Ottawa Drug. We're fighting fires without masks on Somerset Street. It's gone now. And they had 50-gallon drums of perfume, lipstick, rouge, deodorants. We don't know what's in that stuff. You don't know. And they're patented things, and I understand patents. They don't let you know what's in this stuff. And you're ingesting all that stuff. Yeah. And two of my brother firefighters and I ended up in the hospital. And the doctor came in and said, I wanted to meet you. I said, well, why would you want to meet me? He said, the last time I had blood work on anybody that you have right now was during an autopsy. And he says, I do not understand why you're here. And he says, I can't x-ray your lungs because he says you took all the hair out of your nose and the top third of your lungs, all the fibers or whatever it is in there, I don't know my body. And he says, there's nothing there. And he says, I can't see your lungs. You're coated in polyvinyl chloride in plastic. And then...
Which was actually still coming out your skin years later.
Like I had a lump on the back of my head, right up here. And show you my sick sense of humor. I went to my doctor, Dr. Dernstead. That was his dad was a firefighter. Rolly Dernstead, another one of my heroes. And he put his son through medical school. And anyways, I had a lump, and it was giving me headaches. So I went to the doctor, and in the office, he took it out. And when it came out of my skin, it went like that. And it was about the size. So I said, can I have it? He said, do you want it? I said, yeah, I want to have it. So he gave it to me. Then I had another one down here, and now I have one right here. I was at the doctor's
This is literally
yesterday.
Plastic that you inhaled
it's in my body.
Fires.
Just like my hero, Pat McAdam. His father was my hero. I never met him. He was with the Horse Brigade during the First World War. And he was standing behind a horse, and he got hit by shrapnel. He has 140 pieces of shrapnel in his legs, and they didn't expect him to live. And that's the kind of hero he was. And then what the government give him for a pension? $4 a month.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, I end up, they took the thing out. So I got my wife, who's an artist. She's the greatest Canadian artist I know. She makes things out of nothing. Like broken plates, she'll make jewelry. She grows her own flowers and stuff like this. And she does beautiful, beautiful things. She's going to be at Carlingwood in April.
Carlingwood Mall? Yeah. You've been at the Maryville Mall as well?
Yes, exactly. So anyways... I asked her, I said, make me something out of that. So she took it and
The piece of plastic?
Yeah, the piece of plastic out of my head. And it was like I don't know, funny.